Yeah, how's it feel to be back in Louisville, the epicenter of the C26 podcast creation?
It is, it's like taking a stroll down memory lane.
I bet it is.
Yeah, I mean, I sent you the picture yesterday.
Yeah.
That was the picture I took. That was definitely pre-sobriety. There's like this, what would you call this kind of store?
Adult boutique.
Yeah, that's right. And it's an adult boutique right outside the door here of the Omni as I'm headed down to transition. And that's where I've got a picture of me in my K-Swiss black shirt from back when K-Swiss was a very popular triathlon brand. And I walked out yesterday, got in town.
I think you're flat billing it too.
To the right. I think. Did you say I was flat billing it?
Yeah, flat bill hat, K-Swiss.
I was definitely not wearing a flat bill. I had a black zip hat that I was wearing back then, and definitely hung over the time. But yeah, I was walking down to transition yesterday and saw that. Looked around town. A lot of great memories here. A lot of terrible memories here. But that's kind of what it is. But yeah, it's interesting to come back as a 70.3. I went down to transition yesterday. Obviously, we're on site here at Ironman Louisville 70.3, and I'm going to tell you right now, I think they're going to have over 2,800 line up. I saw bib numbers on the bike racks in the 4,000s. And I think it's going to be a great day. We just got a downpour of rain. So I think that's going to help this algae issue that people seem to be freaking out about. So there's like an algae bloom, add a little bit of flow. Yeah, Snell's here. So we got a couple of C26 athletes and coaches here at the little roundtable discussion. But yeah, I'm all in on the there's going to be a swim. And I've also heard from the man, the myth, the legend, who is the water temp extraordinaire, Robbie Krausen, that it's over 80% chance the swim is going to happen. And if there's not, and if the plan B is to actually move transition further up the river and do a split transition to make sure the swim happens. Because I was talking about this earlier today with some of the other athletes that if you're Louisville, right, you had a full, you stopped having the full because you made a giant mistake and you moved it from August to October, which, as we know, you did it both years, but we did it in August. Never should have moved it. Made a huge mistake, moved it to October. It was riddled with terrible weather. They ended up canceling it. Now you're back, sold out 70.3, back in August, as we've always said, like it should be. Mm-hmm. Worst case scenario is they have to cancel the swim for an algae bloom. I mean, that would torpedo registrations for next year. People want to swim. It would torpedo. So I'm thinking no matter what, just like the Paris Olympics, no matter what, they're having to swim tomorrow.
You swim in the algae. It's God. God created it, man.
It's not like what's wrong with the bloom? But yeah, we're here.
I mean, it's just a little,
Exactly.
I think it's a hoax, man, to be honest.
It's a slight bloom. It's just a slight bloom. And we're blooming today. It's Friday. It's August 16th, the year 2024. Welcome aboard, everybody. You're listening to the Crushing Iron. Well, right now you're listening to the background music of downtown Louisville. Hear those sirens in the background?
Yeah. That sounds like the Louisville. I'm kidding. Sounds
like the Louisville you all know and remember. Yeah, we're at the lobby of the Omni Hotel, which is the C26 headquarters. Again, it's August 17th, 2024. This is the Crushing Iron Podcast, episode 790.
Yeah, and I'm
Are you missing it just a little bit?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm missing it, man. But based on how I kind of get into the game late, I think it was a smart decision for me because it's a big weekend. I got to get some stuff done. The travel would wipe me out. I'm getting too old, but I do miss it. I'm a little bit envious, but I am where I am, so that's what it is. And what I'm curious about is how's the temperature of the city. Temperament, I guess, of the city. Have you noticed any kind of like, hey, we're glad to have this back kind of thing, or
it's what? Weird, right? Because the last time we were here was 2018. We stayed at the Marriott, and I checked in yesterday here at the Omni, and I was like, hey, how old is it? Because this hotel is amazing, great place, definitely, and a bump up from the Marriott.
Even that club we used to hang out in.
Yeah, they got like 7 clubs in this place. Steakhouse, restaurant, coffee shop, pizza, marketplace. Like you need it. They've got ice cream. This is a one-stop shop. We're sitting inside like a book library type area you might see in like a Capitol building. I mean, it's got everything. It's pretty legit. And we're on the currently, or I guess we're on the south side of the room. But yeah, this is a great place. But I asked him last night when I was checking in. I was like, how long has this hotel been here? Oh, well, we were building in 2015, done in 2017, 2018. So, and you got to think there's probably a fairly high turnover in the hospitality business. So I don't even think they even know what's coming, which is so it's going to be interesting. So when you take such a long layoff, they're not really excited, but they're also not really, oh, here come these weird people in spandex shorts and these weird looking bikes. So I don't think they even know what's going on. I think the people, the guys and ladies that live down by the river, I think they're probably actually more prepared for what's going to happen. Like, I got to talk to a few yesterday. Snell's been talking to a few this morning, asking about the weather, and he's been getting all of his intel from some of the locals here downtown. But it's saying that, listen, the hospitality is great. I will say this as a recovering alcoholic, this is not the place you want to be. There is bourbon everywhere you go. In my room, there's like 7 bottles.
Oh,
I mean, it's
Jesus.
like I mean, it's no wonder this is my favorite races back then when I used to drink a ton. But yeah, I mean, I also will say, like, for all the bad rap that the city has gotten the last 5-6 years, I guess, with politicians and riots and, crushing and like destroying downtown, I feel like there's like 6 new hotels.
Oh, really?
Yes. I mean, it's like, honestly, it looks, I was expecting to kind of see things in worse shape than when we were here last. But I would say the city has been upgraded. Now, if you live here, you might disagree. But as a person who's came a lot, I was, again, expecting to kind of see things change drastically. But I'm telling you, it feels upscale. It's exciting. Again, I have a lot of great memories here, good and bad. But yeah, I think the city overall is ready. I ran this morning with another athlete, John Morris. We tried to check out the finish. The finish line is not up yet, so it's kind of disappointing to see you there on 4th Street Live. But it is. I think it'll be that'll be the true test, is if the 4th Street Live is bumping with a midday finish compared to the nighttime finish.
No chance.
I don't think so either.
It's not going to. I mean, get your hopes down right now, because it ain't going to feel the same.
Your hopes.
Is there a bunch of places still there? Because that was the thing that seemed like it got ransacked.
Yeah, so we didn't. As soon as I saw that the finish line wasn't up yet, I didn't make my way over there. I mean, I wasn't interested in checking out So I'll go by later today or tomorrow and check out. I'm sure some of those places still exist. But yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, it feels upgraded to me. And there are a lot of people here who are. We've got 70 plus racing. There's a lot of athletes here that did the full and that are back. That did it in October. I don't think a lot of them did it in August like we did, but we're back doing it in October. They're excited about it. I'm going to pass the mic over here in a minute to either Snell or CJ. Coach CJ, he's doing the full 7.3. Snell's doing the relay, but I think I didn't know until I kind of dug deeper on it. There's only like 6 turns on the bike. The high is 80 for right now. It looks overcast. I think this could be a sneaky fast day for some people if they pace it correctly. I mean, low 80s is like a cold front in August. And I think people underestimate the amount of time taken out of your body or of your overall time, rather, when you have that many turns on a course versus when there are no course. And from doing this course, I know it's not the exact same as the full, but when you do a course without turns, and especially in a course like this where there is a rolling terrain, you can keep and maintain a lot of the speed, right? Just like Wisconsin. But if you remove, like I say, if you removed a lot of the turns from Wisconsin, it might not necessarily be a fast course, but you could maintain a lot of your downhill speed and get you up halfway, 3/4 the way up the next roller. And so I think as long as you're as long as you know how to descend, as long as you're comfortable, with your gearing, which again is a problem with some triathletes because they like to, ride their trainer a ton. They don't know how to change gears. If you can take on rollers and learn and know how to maintain speed, I think you're going to be in a good position. And I think, honestly, I think it could be a much faster day than people think.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was that few turns, but man, turns make a
that's got to be a record. I mean, I think
difference.
that's even less turns than Muncie.
Yeah. I was curious. They're not doing that weird out and back thing we used to do, are they? Remember that thing? That was like death.
That was, I think, the last year they had that out and back, and we have the whole road, right? It's no cars, and it was in the what, first like 12 miles.
Yeah, it was rough, man.
I saw an ambulance every time. Chris, you've got mostly dudes coming down, crossing over the yellow line, bombing the downhills, and of course you get just like on the interstate when you see the guy flying by you at 95. 30 minutes later, you see him pulled over by a cop. Well, on the other end of the spectrum, you got these, mostly dudes in this short little out and back they used to have on the full. They just come bombing down, crossing over the yellow line to pass people, going, 55 miles an hour. And then, of course, when you get to the bottom of the hill, what do you see? Ambulance, dude in a stretcher. Things didn't work out very well. So I think they even took that out for the October races.
Yeah, they did.
Not mistaken. Yeah, I think they learned their lesson on that.
Yeah. The one thing I was thinking about that course is, I don't know how accurate the elevation profiles are usually, but this, it looks like 2,400, I think they say, but it's all within 30 miles, so that could be the sneaky part.
Well, and it's funny you say that because I was actually having a discussion earlier, back in the day when it had kind of a similar profile where you had to me, it reminds me a lot of Wisconsin. You got the, the not straightaway, but you got flat to false flat, slight decline going out, and then you have the hilly portion, you got the meat of the race, and then you got the quote unquote downhill section, which is a very similar profile as Wisconsin, but a lot of times you're also coming back into a headwind. So people, burn their biscuits, and just like in Wisconsin, like, oh, it's really just, 85, 90 miles, and then it's, 20 miles downhill. Well, you're smoked after those 90, those 90 miles, and then you come back on and you're all of a sudden heading into a headwind and your biscuits are burned. You expected to get a free ride. Now you're having to work even more and even harder and even higher. So I think it's going to be interesting. I think the new run course is going to make it even more interesting. The hardest run course they've ever had here. More elevation on this half marathon than they ever used to have on the full marathon for the full distance race. So I think it's going to be it's all going to be all about pacing. I think people might see faster times in the swim, fingers crossed, right? Because that's what people sign up for those races for. They might see faster times on the bike because of how few turns it is and the weather. And I think that might trick a few people into more than a few. Might trick quite a few people into going out maybe a little bit too quick. Humidity's high, dew point high, because again the temperature can be low, like it was at Ohio that year. You did the run relay portion. I did the 70.3. That wasn't overly hot that day, but I think the dew point was like 76, 77. And it just made for an atrocious run. So I think it could sneak up on people because the sun's supposed to come out around 10 or 11. Slight chance of rain early on in the day, but I think where the pinchers come on the run could really take some bites out of people. And then I honestly think it's going to be some of the downhills, some of the quad crushers that could put people in the hurt locker. So I think again, I always loved Louisville because it outside of the swim. It's non-wetsuit legal, and yes, some years it was fast, some years it wasn't. But it's as fair of a course as you're going to get, and so that's why I love courses like this. It's fair. It'll be downstream, but it won't be wetsuit legal. You got a bike that's rolling; it'll be warm. You got a run that's rolling, and there's nowhere to hide on the run course. So I think it should be a great day, a challenging day, and I'm just looking forward to seeing this many people back here. And it was great to see that they're already coming back next year. So registration for next year opens up on Monday. Was kind of hoping they would do the full next year, but it seems that right now Ironman is all in on the 70.3s. They're not, because I was hearing rumors of Coeur d'Alene being a full, St. George being a full, Boulder being a full, and right now they just seem to be really, really putting all their eggs in the 70.3 basket, and I think that's great.
I don't, but go ahead.
You don't?
Nah, man. I think I'm worried about the fulls, man.
I don't think I'm worried about the fulls. I think you load it up with 70.3s, and I think every year Ironman should do what they're doing now with 70.3s, like Rockford and Des Moines and some of the ones in the Northeast, like Maine, Happy Valley, New York, 70.3, is to keep adding in these new races every year, and then eventually you just add in an extra Ironman, one new one. I think people will be all in on that. I think Texas days are numbered. I was talking to an athlete this year. I think if Ironman could cut a check to the city of Madison and surrounding counties to repay the entire bike route for Ironman Wisconsin, then they could sell out in 4,000 people if they would just repave the road. I think that would legit solve a lot of problems. I'm sure they're not willing to kind of spend that kind of coin. It doesn't sound like Wisconsin is either, but I think things like that go a long way.
Yeah, they might. They might.
You don't think so?
I think it would help. I mean, yeah, I think the mass start would help.
That would mean even if it's not even just a mass start, even if it's like an age group wave start, I feel like that's a happy medium. I'm not sure everybody else feels about that, but if you can't do a mass start, I say go happy medium and do age group waves. So at least you're having a mini mass start. You're still surrounded by people, and at least you know who you're racing. I don't see the problem in that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that too.
So that would be fantastic.
All right, what are we going to do here? We're going to spin it off to somebody?
Yeah, I'm going to spin it off to CJ, and you can pepper him with his questions. Give me 2 seconds to flip over.
All right. Yeah, well, we're bringing on Coach CJ, Colorado native, or at least that's where he lives now, I think. And until he gets here, he was podium last year at Ironman Wisconsin. He's taken on Louisville. I don't know how long this is going to take. Hey, buddy, what's happening?
Not much. How are you?
Good, man. I just gave you a really weak intro, but that's what I do, man. Just me. So you're down there racing, huh?
Down here racing.
Yeah. How you feeling?
I feel pretty good.
All right. So what's the strategy tomorrow? Or I mean Sunday.
Well, hopefully we're going to swim.
Yeah. Would that be sucking flying all the way out here to not swim?
I don't know. You just kind of roll with it, right?
Well, that's kind of how you are, but I don't know. Yeah, you just roll with it.
We'll see how the strategy goes. Probably try to pace it nice and even and hope to come off and run well. I think the run's going to have a few sneaky hills in there that probably sting late in the race.
They might, yeah. How are you going to handle the bike? You're just going to go even, huh? Even, that's what you do.
I'm going to try to ride pretty even, yeah.
Yeah. You're not going to hammer it on the way back in?
We'll see how I feel, but probably not.
Probably not.
Not until I put together a good half marathon again.
Oh, okay. So that's the thing, right? It's like there's such a fine line, I think, between understanding if you can hammer and then, because I don't know, in a half too, it's sort of like that. It's super, super interesting to me because I've had really good runs off of like bomber bikes, and then I've also sucked off of the bike.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's how do you delineate that? I mean, do you obviously you go by power and heart rate, right? But do you ever like throw that to the wind and just kind of go by feel? And have you ever nailed a run off of a bike where you just went out and got it?
I've nailed some runs off the bike where I just stop looking at the heart rate and everything else and just go by feel. I usually try to stick with a heart rate goal on the bike more so than power, but back when I was racing a lot more often, I didn't have power, so I stick to heart rate probably because I know that better. I'm more comfortable with it. Mm-hmm. But I kind of use it all now: power, heart rate, what's my breathing feel like, and then build into the run. And if I feel good, I'll just stop looking at everything and run what I can do. Yeah.
Now, I was thinking about heart rate the other day. When you're out on a bike, do you look at? Do you have like a peak that you don't want to go over, or do you like think about it as an average heart rate? Or I mean, because I'm like you, where I really just sort of dial into my breath. If I'm really gasping, I know I'm in trouble or I'm getting too far over the edge. But what do you do about, like, what do you watch on your heart rate? I mean, how do you monitor that? I mean, obviously it starts, well, I would assume it starts fairly low out of the swim, but
The opposite. It'll start kind of high enough to take a minute to let it settle.
Okay.
Coming out of the water. I try to stay within a target range for the bike. And then depending on what the course is, we have Wisconsin coming up too. Something like that, you're going to have a few power spikes here and there probably that heart rate will respond to. But I try to keep it within whatever target range my training has told me I can do.
Range, yeah. Okay.
So
but I mean, with the drift and everything, do you, obviously you don't like go freak out if it goes a little bit high for a second or two, right? You just kind of.
Right.
Yeah. So that's just kind of, it sounds to me like that's sort of a feel thing that you develop. And because I mean, like, I just start thinking about shit like that. And sometimes if my heart rate's a little high, I might feel really good. Like some days I can handle it better or something like that, So the minute I start really dialing in on that, I mean, you're not like just locked in on that shit, right? Or you just kind of flowing around and kind of looking at every once in a while. I mean, that's the process that I'm really interested in, same with power really, but.
Well, yeah, I try to spend some time not looking at all that stuff. So you do develop that feel. Mm-hmm. I think that makes a big difference because, heat, cold, hills, all of those things are going to affect it, make your heart rate jump around a bit, or you might be pushing huge power at a lower heart rate if it's cold outside, and that comes back and haunts you in the run. So I think it's important to kind of turn off all the devices and develop that feel for sure.
Mm. Yeah. So, because sometimes I'll be out running and, maybe within the first few miles, I'll be like, I'm going to go look at this heart rate. I'm sure it's in the, red zone, and it's super low, you know? So I mean, just like to me, it's always interesting because I don't know if it's something to do with being relaxed or getting my breath, because every time you start running, I think there's a subconscious anxiety or something. Anytime you start anything, you might have a little bit of tension going on, and then you start to relax as the blood flows. So I don't know. I'm always just interested in how people, approach, riding by heart rate or by power, versus like I would never want to set my power immediately and just try and hold it. It seems to me like it would always be a gradual rise. Is that how you roll?
I definitely try to build into stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
I might have power targets that I think I'm capable of doing, and I might watch that. I usually watch it more to keep myself honest and make sure that I'm pushing hard enough. It's usually not the other way.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, so like I'm more on flats and stuff like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, because we were talking about this when we did the Wisconsin camp, and I was asking you about, because some of those hills out there, we were talking about climbing, and I was like, Jesus, dude, I can't keep this shit anywhere near what I want to keep it at. But how long, can you flirt with like I was sort of saying, whatever my FTP is, and then sometimes on those hills, I'm spiking that, I'm going over that. But I guess for here and there kind of deal, it's not that big a deal, right?
You still got to get over the hill one way or another, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, but I'm just saying, like, I guess it depends how high over it you go, right?
Sure. I mean, all of that stuff will take its toll at some point, right? That's why we train, we get used to it, or we put specifics into a certain build. If you're getting ready for Ironman Wisconsin, probably do things a little different than if you're getting ready for California or Florida, so that you can tolerate those spikes and the power spikes and the heart rate spikes that come with those courses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting, man. That's interesting. I've never trained by power, but I usually just ride hills in training, and I just hammer them. So I kind of feel like maybe I'm subconsciously training for stuff like that in the right way. But anyway, so how do you feel about Louisville, the city? You've been there before? Is it good?
Never
vibe?
been before. And we actually haven't been out of the hotel yet. We got in late last night, so we'll go explore a little bit this afternoon.
Oh, okay.
Seems like a pretty cool city.
All right. So a lot of people racing. You gonna get in the water early?
I don't know.
You don't know? Oh, you don't even know if you're getting in the water. But I say go for it, dude.
But I won't get in the water before race day. I'll try to see if I can sneak something in the pool here. But
okay. Well, if they cancel, are you going to swim the distance in the local Y in the morning?
Yeah. After you
Just to
about
prove that you could do it.
Yeah, get up at 5 and get that in before we start the bike and run duathlon.
Yeah. Well, anyway, all right, man. Anything else you want to drop on the audience here as far as a good?
I don't think so. I hope everybody has a great time this weekend. There's a ton of us here, so it'll be a blast.
Yeah. It sounds like it's C26 everywhere, man. All right, go out and get that Tri-Club trophy, man. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. We need some points. Who's next? Snell? Is he coming in or is he?
Snell's next.
Oh, I'm going to grill him. Brian Snell coming in next. Longtime C26 athlete, big Lionel Sanders fan, and Northeasterner. He lives way up there. New York. Hello?
Hey, Mike. What's happening?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. You?
Good, man. How the Ironman Blues treating you?
Not very well.
Placid ate your lunch, or what's going on, man? You sad that it's over, or you can't wait to get back and do it again? What's the deal?
Well, I was thinking to myself, I don't understand how you're able to do this year in and year out.
Oh, you were?
I definitely don't want to do it again next year, or maybe ever.
Does that give me a higher status in your mind, or does that make you think I'm crazy?
Little bit of both.
Well, we know that's true, right? Yeah. So you're doing the relay. What are you swimming? You might get out of it.
Swim. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I haven't done much swimming since Lake Placid.
Yeah.
But we're gonna give it a go. Should be fun.
But you swam hard up to Lake Placid. You should be fine. I mean, you're not afraid of the algae, are you?
Yeah. I got to be honest. I'm not crazy about swimming in algae. Would you be?
I don't care. I just swim.
Oh.
I mean, there's always shit in lakes and rivers, and as long as it's not like raw sewage, I think I'm okay with it.
So you wouldn't have wanted to swim in the Seine?
I probably would have done that too. I don't know. I just feel like, you get in there, you swim, and then you sweat it out.
Okay.
And along the way, you get, somehow maybe you get a little bit of toughness built in your immune system or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, okay.
How's your run up to Wisconsin doing?
It's going all right. Yeah. I mean, I wish I could have been there, but I was thinking, man, this is a key weekend for me because
it's 3 weeks out. That's right. This is the key week.
Yeah. I'm a habitual undertrainer. So I thought if I went down there, I probably wouldn't do anything for like 4 days. So I'm like, yeah. So it's going all right. I'm kind of taking it light and trying some new things and just going out and having fun. I don't know,
Well, I'm looking forward to being there and watching you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're coming?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Are you racing?
I'm supposed to.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, I don't know.
Okay. You're getting weird on me, man. Man, are you did this suck the life out of you?
Suffering from Lake Placid. So, yeah. I'm definitely going to go.
Man.
Of course, being around C26 friends and family always gives you a boost, and it's definitely something that I need right now. So I'm happy to be here for sure.
Oh, man, I feel like you're down a little bit. Are you you're signed up for the 70.3 though, right?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, racing on Saturday.
When was Placid? How many weeks ago was that?
July 21st. So we're 3 weeks plus out from it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it'll be 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I did, after my first Ironman, I did a 70.3 4 weeks later, and I did nothing in between. So
did you crush it?
I actually did pretty good, except I got a drafting penalty that really hurt me. I was drafting on a pickup truck, I think. It was a kind of a non-brand race out in the hills of Georgia somewhere. Anyway, anything else you got for the listeners? Any words of wisdom?
No, I'm excited to be here. we've got like more than 70 athletes here. I'm excited to meet some new teammates for sure. I'm excited to be amongst teammates that, I know and consider to be family.
All right.
So, yeah, it's going to be a great weekend, and I'm enjoying myself this morning, just hanging out in what is a beautiful luxury hotel for sure.
Man, you guys are high society down there.
Oh,
you got
yeah.
a lot of people around. I'm going to give you a little word of advice. I think I learned this from Tim Ferriss at one point, but when you got that many people around, the goal is to become, meet a good friend or two at the max. Don't try to be everyone's friend. Just go meet a good friend, man.
That's good advice.
Yeah, I mean, it gets a little overwhelming if you're trying to like saddle up to, 50 people. Just meet one or two friends for life.
Yeah.
All right.
Very nice.
Yeah. Where's Robbie at? Is he clubbing over there?
No, he's sitting here on the couch, just chilling.
All right. Well,
It's great talking to you, man.
You too, buddy. I wish I could be there, and good luck with the swim. And what's the name of your team?
C26 Relay.
Oh, you got the main name. That's a creative
Very original.
name. Who came up with that? You?
Claire Stevens.
Oh, okay. Claire did, yeah.
She's our team captain. She's our anchor. She's going to be doing the run. Jeremy Chapman is doing our bike.
Okay. This sounds like a solid team. You're going to have to go up against my buddy Cody's team, the other C26 team, Burnt Biscuits. Keep an eye out.
Who's on that team?
Cody, Powell, and Maggie, Rodney, and I can't remember the other one. So, Burnt Biscuits, keep an eye out for them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, bring it home, man. We need some points out of you guys.
All right. We'll do our best.
All right. Put Robbie back on. Good talking to you, buddy.
You too, man.
All right. See ya. All right. We'll bring back Robbie, the co-host.
He's back.
He'll fill some dead air.
Snell. He's been doing lines of ketamine and horse tranquilizer for the last 45 minutes before he went live today.
Did you wake him up?
I did. I know. I was like, dude, you got like speaking to the microphone. I know this is your first time, but I mean, you sound like you've been doing lines of downers for the last 4 days. Telling you, that's what the post Ironman vibe gives you. Sometimes you get. It's not like a physical thing. It's a mental thing. It takes a lot of mental energy to go through those things. So yeah, I mean, again, we don't. It's C26. We do a lot of testing, and he wouldn't be allowed to do the full race if he'd be popped for horse ketamine and tranquilizers and ketamine right now. So yeah, but you know what? Everybody's got their own vibe, and that is okay. That's why C26 is as great as it is. We have all athletes of all kinds, all different abilities, and all different personalities. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting, man. That he. Yeah, because I remember him at camp, how fired up everybody was.
Oh,
It was right before, 2 or 3 weeks before Placid.
He's LFG Snell.
LFG,
Brian,
baby.
I mean, he's ready to go, but it's funny, the Ironman post-fatigue. We have, we've got multiple podcasts on it, the post-Ironman thepression, if you will. It zaps it out of you, man.
Yeah, it does, man.
It's interesting. That's not the topic for today, but I do think there's a discussion to be had, and I think that's actually maybe why, I know you said you wish there were more Ironman options, but I think, with the amount of, I think people get so fatigued from them, not necessarily in the buildup hopefully not in the buildup, but post race, they just don't have a ton of energy to deal with life's demands and life's stresses. They're just so fatigued and from the race itself, right? And then you just get in a funk because you can't handle life. I think it's obviously training related too, but I think a lot of it is just like you put so much mental effort into the day and then you did it all. And so I think it's just as much of a mental emotional toll as it is a physical toll. And I think, as with everything, your mental and emotional headspace can transfer as to how you're feeling physically a lot of the time anyway.
Well, I can tell you, yeah, the race will do that to you, but I'm at a point in training right now where I'm on the line, It does.
Fine.
Yeah, I'm walking a thin line, but It does. I think that is probably the reason. I mean, you go through this, and I've been through it so many times that I'm kind of every year I'm like, why? Why am I doing this? Because it's if you have, so much space in your brain, it sort of takes over quite a bit of real estate up there. You know what I mean? Even mentally, you're just, it's hard not to think about what you're doing, because you got, work to do and everything else is going on in your life. And then all of a sudden you got to squeeze out 4 hours of your day somehow or whatever. That's a big ask, man.
It's a huge ask.
So I get it. But that's why I'm always trying to figure out ways to not have to always carve out 4 hours, maybe like 2.5 or something like that. It's like,
listen, sometimes 2.5 is good enough for some
I think
people.
it is, man. I think it is,
For everybody, but sometimes it's just good enough.
Yeah, I'm looking at traditionally a 5-ish to 6 hour ride this weekend, and that is probably not going to happen. So
It's gonna happen. Yep.
Not happening. So we're just going to take our chances.
You could do the triple though, right? You could do, a Saturday morning AM hour and a half hammer, Saturday PM hour and a half hammer, and then get out Sunday morning and ride easy for 2 to 3.
You've been looking at my readjusted training peaks. It's similar, I think.
Similar, yeah. Just listen. I'm a huge fan of the double bike days, but in the Ironman build, it definitely helps things out. And I think it was funny because like before we went live, we were CJ and Snell and I were talking a bunch about nutrition and all these kind of things. And Snell was like, I wish I had Mike's approach to racing and getting out there. And I said, well, in order to have that approach to racing, you also have to kind of have that approach to training. You can't have both. You can't have it. You can't be a type A trainer that wants to get everything in done. I think a lot of times that's the disconnect with athletes is they want to be one person on the race course, but someone totally opposite when they train or vice versa. And I think you got to kind of find a happy medium way of acceptance when it comes to how you approach training and how that translates to race day. Cause that also obviously, like, as you know, and we do this all the time with coaches, is that, it also, people have very unfair expectations of themselves. They expect to race amazing, but they don't put that same effort and intention on themselves when they train. And so I think that, it's all about perspective. And listen, if you're going to be in sport for a long period of time, you gotta be happy with things, you gotta enjoy things, and set your own training path up for success more than trying to follow one that's going to lead to, hopefully the perfect result on race day.
Yeah. No, I think you're right, man. I spent a lot of time actually writing because I got to sort through this stuff because it's so easy to get distracted and get into somebody else's kind of methodology or whatever it may be. But I like, how do I find my sweet spots? I'm always I'm pushing the envelope, but I'm also pulling it back a little bit because I have to be realistic. And I think, it's sort of like I always, and we talk about it, ad nauseum, but how do you get to that, halfway point, that 18-mile mark of the marathon and still have something left? I mean, that's easy to talk about, right? But how do you really kind of ingrain it into your brain to make that happen? And yeah,
you got to have the room and the space to, I think we use this analogy all the time. You only got 1 or 2 matches to burn each year, and I think that's true emotionally and mentally just as much as it is physically. Mm-hmm. And so if you want to, I think you always want to strike the match and see how big the flame is. That kind of tests the match is your fitness. Burning the whole thing is what you get to do twice during the year for a race. But I think if you dig deep too many times, and once you get to race day, you just don't want to dig deep anymore. Mm-hmm. So dig deep, and you have these like irresponsible, insane, big days, and you start to dread and hate training. Like, you're going to go into your race not wanting to race. And so when the time comes and that you got to answer the bell and you got to respond to the pain, you're just not going to want to do it because you already caved, right? And and it's not that you can't do it. It's that you've already done it so many times. You're just like, I don't want to do this again. It's like touching a hot stove. You touch it once and you learn your lesson. You don't want to go back and do it again because you know how bad it feels. So when you dig deep all the time and you ask so much of yourself to make yourself get up at 4, to finish out a ride at 9 p.m. or to dig deep on a run. Like there's only so much that your body and your mind can take. So if you do that too much, and you go into these races and you can't dig deep, or you dig deep that one last time, and then of course, why would you want to dig deep in the next month, right? So there's just so much that goes, into thinking through your training and your racing and how you split things up, where you put races, and I think there's just a lot of athletes when they get disinterested, it usually is just it's not really because of training, it's because the expectations is from bad race placement, or it's because they did dig too deep on a few extra sessions to where they've just again, you've only got so much in you. Like I was Paul Jones in the C26 I was talking to this morning. He's like, there's a ton of athletes here, and I said, yeah, it's a lot of extroverting for me. And he was like, well, or his wife said, yeah, but you're great at extroverting. You're a people person. I said, I am, but I just it takes me a long time to recharge the battery, and I think that's very true for people that race. Some people need a longer period of time to recharge their battery. Like I can do tonight's dinner and Saturday and Sunday and be good, and then recharge my battery for a week and then be ready to roll again. But if someone asked me to do these kind of weekends every weekend for 8 weeks, well, come, third or fourth race weekend, I wouldn't be worth anything. People would think I wasn't great with, not that I'm great with people, but people wouldn't think I was a people person or wanted to get out. I'd be done. I wouldn't be able to give it. And I think that's very similar to how people race and train. Like there's just only so much you can give of yourself. Some people get energy from racing a lot. Some people get zapped from energy. So you kind of have to know how you operate best and then honor that with your race schedule and then also your training and recovery leading up to and after the race.
Yeah. That's such a great point, dude. I mean, I'm at a place, under trainer in general, but like I'm at a place right now where it's so tempting to go out and really get a bunch of miles and really do. And that's just like, I think for me, probably the worst thing. So I've got really two focuses right now is just sort of like owning my effort and pacing. And like you said, re-energizing. I rode Wisconsin again last weekend, the course last weekend. And I was like at a point where it was kind of burning me out. It's one of my favorite rides ever, but I can't feel like this about this race course right now, no matter how much training it gives me. I'm really just trying to find the excitement level again to be out there, and I'm going to take my chance on that because, I don't know how much more fitness you can really build. I mean, I'm just trying to get to a place where I know I feel pretty decent and then just, take what the day gives you. It's so important to be, I think for me to look forward, like really be anxious to race rather than be like, oh man, I've been tired for the last 3 weeks.
Exactly.
Yep. That's the worst place to be for me. I mean, you can get through it and you can suck it up and everything like that. But I think your chances are, if you have that tenacity about you with energy, you're in a lot better spot. That doesn't mean, just cruising through the day.
And if you're that fatigued and that drained mentally and physically, then what you're doing training wise isn't going to be that good for you anyway. Yeah. Right. There's doing training and suffering through it. And then there's doing training and doing it well and giving yourself enough time to adapt and recover from it, because that's how you get better. And I think a lot of people get stuck in that Ironman build where they're just doing work to do work, and doesn't mean their body's adapting to it. So you can add in hours to make hours, but it doesn't mean your body's adapting to those hours. So I think that's it's an interesting place to be. So again, like if you're listening, you got races later this year, full 70.3s, understand who you are and what you have to work with and what your bandwidth is, training and racing wise. And again, if you're tired all the time, you're doing too much. You're doing too much. If you're tired all the time, you're doing too much. And you're not getting anything out of it. You're running your system down, and you're on your way to overtraining. Hopefully we don't see that this weekend. So again, here sponsored by the Omni Hotel. And
I can't believe you ditched our old hotel.
What's that?
You ditched our old hotel, man. They treated us pretty well there, I thought.
They treated us okay, but yeah, I think that Omni's cheaper with better amenities. What are you gonna do?
It's cheaper now? Jesus.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you know us, always looking for a deal and couponing. We hope to see everybody in and around town. If you see anybody in C26 gear, make sure you say hi. I'll be in and around town. If you see Coach Glenn Robecki, make sure you ask him about Mike. He brought 100 singles into town, and he is ready to shed out those $1 bills like crazy. And if you ask kindly, he might show you his new testosterone chart. So just be on the lookout for Coach Glenn and all the other C26 guys. We love you guys. We appreciate you. Mike, will definitely miss you this weekend. As always, go to our website, C26Triathlon.com. It's a one-stop shop for all things coaching camps and community. If you need anything from Mike, he's available. Mike at C26Triathlon.com. If you need anything from me, I'm at Robbie at C26Triathlon.com.
All right, man. Well, go have a great time and bring home that Tri-Club trophy.
We'll do it. We'll do our best.
Be out there yelling, "Go! You got more!" Are you gonna on course coach?
We got to be on the lookout for Team Zoot. Welcome to the Ohana. We'll see how things go, and we'll check back in next week with some hardware.
I want to see at least one picture of you running along in your flip flops, telling somebody
to slow down.
Slow down.
Be
patient. Be patient.
Yeah, I was barefoot. I wasn't in flip flops. I was barefoot.
Oh, that's right. You were barefoot.
Yeah, I ditched the flip flops, baby. I wasn't keeping up with you in flip flops. I had to go barefoot.
That's back when you felt no pain.
That's exactly right. I was numb from drinking at 9 a.m. already.
Yeah, but you're still a good coach, man.
Well, yeah. Some things, nobody knew how terrible I was back then. Now that's why my ceiling's so high now, as I started out so low.
All right, man. Well, go have a good time and
all right,
say hi to everybody, and especially Glenn with his $100.
All right, I'll check you later.
All right, buddy. See you.
See you, dude.